Hi, this is Julian Marsh, Rubbergunner. I'm doing a short video here to show what my workspace looks like. I have seen similar videos. There's one by Matthias Wandel on his website that just kind of talks about his workspace, and I found that really interesting. So I'm going to do a video, a kind of a similar video, in case anybody that's stopped by my Google or my YouTube page has kind of wondered where the things that I build are made. So I'll show you here. I live in a small 2-bedroom condo, so I have the smaller of my 2 bedrooms as my workshop, and I just cleaned it. It was unbelievably messy here. Probably been about 2 months ago that I'd cleaned it, so I didn't really have any open workspaces. Right now I am just getting ready to work on a batch of the rapid fire carbine. So I've got some 3/4 inch plywood here with templates applied to it. I like to print them out on the full sheet inkjet label paper. Works really well. Here's my cheapo tools. These are the tools I reference in my book on building the rotary Mech 10X. Boy, I think about getting a better bandsaw fairly regularly, and I'm waiting for to really start noticing the bearings going out on the drill press, but I'm still able to get good results. At the time that I wrote the book, I hadn't really fully embraced the idea of using brad point drill bits, and that's not recommended in the book, but I did recently get myself a set of brad points, and I had some little metric ones here too, and man, they are just make things so much easier when it comes to getting like holes really precisely placed. I also like to play around with the little numbered series drill bits, but obviously I don't have a complete set of them. I made myself a board to hold them just so I could see what I had. At a certain point I didn't know what my inventory was, so over time I managed to buy, let's see, it looks like a total of 4 size 56, which could have been avoided if I'd I think those are bought each one at a time. This is the very smallest of those drill bits, and it's smaller in diameter than a a size 80. It's an incredibly tiny drill bit, and I don't know that I've ever used it, but I just decided I'm buying that when I saw it. It was only a couple of dollars. I use this inexpensive belt sander here. I don't really use the disc. It just sits there and kind of is a hazard for me when I turn on and off the machine, but the whole thing's kind of rickety compared to a nice one, and so just as a matter of course, when I'm getting ready to use this, I always come and I check my table here to make sure it's square with the belt, because it will get out of square after a while with vibration. It's just nothing very fancy or good quality. And then I have kind of some workspace. Here are some blanks for the frame for the rapid fire shotgun that I had laser cut. I was selling some of those locally. I think these are the last of them that are, well, I don't know if they're all usable, but I'll probably use some of them to make guns that I'll sell locally here at some point. Let's see, down here this noise, I don't know if it's audible, I'm tumbling some of the star wheel and escapement tooth pieces that I make on my router table for the rapid fire carbine. Here's some templates that I use to rough cut them, but I don't actually use templates when I do the final cut. I made cutting templates for the router. This is the one that I use for the star wheel, and it's, I think, just made out of several layers of laminated 1/8 inch, or they don't make a 3/8 inch Baltic birch that I can buy here in town. So that's for the star wheel, and then this one here is the one for the escapements, and then I have to do another operation to create the beveled edge on the escapements, but this works really well on the router table. It's just like it has this little piece of 1/4 inch plexiglass that's a safety, and I can do 3 of them at once. I use double-sided tape or 3M transfer tape, which is a really cool product to hold things on. These are the set of router templates I made for cutting the trigger levers for the Scattermech 49, and I've mounted them each so that there's two on each handle here that I can I kind of rough cut blanks first and then mount them on there, and there's several of those. Here's the router template I used for the frame of the Scattermech 49. The Scattermech 49 I kind of set up to cut all the parts out using a router, whereas with my newer guns I just do it on the bandsaw and then sand them down, since I don't really have a very good router, and I tend to get burning and stuff. I'm pretty inexperienced using it. This is my little router table that I built. It works really well, but I made it. It's made it as a downdraft router table, but I wasn't thinking clearly, evidently, and so it sucks the sawdust right into the cavity in here in which the router is housed, which is not a good idea at all. So I'm expecting it's clog up this little $50 Ryobi router here at some point, and then at that point, before I get when I go to get a new router, I'll build myself a better router table. But I like the downdraft concept just because it helps to keep things from getting too messy in here. So, but in any case, that's the workspace in which I make my rubber band guns, and if anybody has any questions or comments, you can post a comment and let me know.